Oh, sorry, that threw me off. But prior to becoming a branch manager, I started as a universal banker, and then I actually moved to the Rochester area to take a promotion as a small business relationship banker. So I actually have such a passion for business, especially small business, and clients who decide to take a leap and start their own business. I think it's great that you're all doing that and building a future for yourself and something that you love doing. So kudos to all of you for taking that step. And I think this program is great. I love the fact that you guys are actually working on pitches. It's something that we actually work on individually here at Citizens as well. We call it our value proposition, and it's explaining why and you're your biggest advocate. So I love the fact that I'm able to be a part of this with you guys. So today we are actually going to be talking about business operations, and we are going to be focusing on how to manage said business operations. To be a successful business owner, you do have to have a good understanding around forecast, managing costs, and identifying the key drivers of your revenue and profitability. So today we're actually going to work through a few interactive sessions together as a group, and we're going to put some skills into practice today. So I do encourage everyone here to ask questions and participate as much as possible. I think you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So I look forward to having everyone be very participative. Don't be shy, ask a bunch of questions. This definitely is the opportunity for you to commit to your development and share best practices with other entrepreneurs. So let's take a look at our agenda today. It'll be on the next slide. There we go. All right. So today we are going to be defining each element along the within the chain of business and understanding how your business will make money. So we're going to be covering forecasting. We're going to be covering supplier cost calculations and supplier choice as well, because that has a huge impact on your business. We will be covering revenue calculations and introducing different levers to pull to kind of determine how we can increase our revenue. And we will also be covering income statements and gross margins, as well as profitable growth and scenario examples. I know it says on here that we're going to do a few breakout sessions, but we are going to do everything as a group together. So again, be as participative as. Did I see someone in the chat saying there's no sound? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
It might be on their end.
Okay. So we'll just jump right in and get started. So as we work to understand the key steps it takes to successfully operate a business, we'll have an opportunity to work with a case study of a juice shop business. And I believe everyone was given a participant guide on Friday, and there should have been some information in there as well on this. But congratulations to everyone here. You're now a brand new owner of a juice shop. So we are going to go over the details of the juice shop. So the location is going to be adjacent to a major metro area. So something very, very important to keep in mind. Location, location, location. There's only one store for the company, and they are open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. They only offer orange juice, and they're actually selling a cup for $4 a cup. And the fixed cost is going for the business is the juicing equipment, rent, and insurance. And the variable costs for the business will include labor. They only have one team member on shift, and raw materials, which at this point, considering we're only selling orange juice, we only have to worry about oranges. The customers include local families, commuters who access nearby bus and train stops, workers at nearby offices, and tourists visiting the city, local college students, fitness enthusiasts. So it sounds like we have some pretty good clientele around the area as well, which is super exciting. So now that we actually have some brief details of the juice shop, what do you guys think are some of the business operations that you would want to consider for the shop with all of this information that was just revealed about the business? You guys can chat that in. You can take yourself off mute or raise your hand.
You said, what are some of the business operations we would like to see?
Yeah, that you would want to consider for the shop.
I would love to consider, because you're dealing with juices, so I would love to see if this is all natural. So I would want to know, how do you shop for your fresh produce? Like, what is the operation? What vendors do you use? How often do you shop? What is your like, how do you keep it fresh? Like, what is your freshness for it? I remember when I used to work in a certain category, you had to stamp it for a certain amount of days before you moved it out. So those are operations that I would like to know, because I like fresh juice.
Yeah, absolutely. So suppliers and everything that goes into that is definitely a big area that we would want to take into consideration for the business, right? What are some other operational topics that you think are important for a business owner to take into consideration for their own business?
I think that they would want to consider how long does their produce and or product last. So what's their turnaround time, and like how fast do they need to sell all this juice? So what would be like their spoilage rate, and how much do they need to get rid of if it doesn't sell? And
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
how much of that can they withstand on their budgeting? And then, I mean, they have rent on here, but they don't have other utilities as well.
Mhm.
So they should probably add utilities and internet and cleaning crew to come in and clean that, might not necessarily work there every day, that kind of thing.
Right, right. I agree with all of that. I definitely think P&L is definitely something that's very important to take into consideration as a business owner. And that's definitely something that we'll be digging into a little deeper as we continue through today's presentation. What about some others? Anything else that you guys can think of that would be important? I see we have chat lighting up. Let's see here.
How do people know that they exist? What is how do they market this? So what is the operations for making sure that you're selling the juice? What is your marketing plan to make sure that that's done daily or weekly or monthly? I think the other operational thing is, I see the customers here, I see the location and all that, but who's working? So what are the employees supposed to do? When do they show up? What is their job? Who's squeezing the juice? Who's putting the stickers on? So I don't see that in the overview. So I think that would be very important in the business operations of this company.
Yeah, I do see one team member on here that might get a little tricky if only one person's working from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., right? And
Depending on the job, I live that life sometimes.
hey, I can appreciate the hustle. But marketing too, absolutely, right? Like, how are people going to know about the business, and how do you make your business stand out from local competitors, right? Let's say that there's a Starbucks or a Jamba Juice down the street from you? How do you stand out? So that's definitely something you want to take into consideration too. And that's where your guys' value proposition is going to hugely come into play, right? Why you? That's what you want to think about. Why you? In the chat, I also see cost of goods. Absolutely, that's definitely something that we want to take into consideration as a business owner, right? Let's see. What are the size of the cups of the juice? Absolutely. Were you partnering with?
What about
Possibility of
production time?
expanding? What was that?
What about production time? Because you know, when you at like Tim Hortons at the window, they have a certain amount of time that you have to spend on each customer before they have to get out the window. So maybe you need to figure out how long you're going to spend on each person at the drive-through as well as the counter.
Yeah, that's definitely something to take into consideration too, right? Like time is money, so absolutely. I love your thought process. I really like someone, Rashonda said, will there be possibility of expanding product in the future goals for the business? I think that's huge too. Ultimately, I think everything that you guys have said is something that needs to be taken into consideration when it comes to operations. So today we're really going to be focusing around inventory, daily sales, and suppliers, and how that takes effect into your gross revenue. Okay. So now that you, so what we're going to do next is we're going to consider the steps that we would have to take to calculate the revenues of our shop. So if we could continue on to the next slide. Oh, next one. There we go. Thank you. So as you guys can see here, there's a lot that goes into serving your clients and running our business. So we're going to take a deeper dive into a few of what those operation categories look like. So the first item is going to be your sales forecasting. So the first thing that we want to do is forecast what we anticipate our sales will be for the quarter, or you could even do it monthly, right? But you want to take into consideration what you anticipate your sales are going to be. And to be able to do that accurately, we want to examine our daily average sales and multiply that over the period we want to examine. And that's absolutely critical because as a business owner, it will inform you on how much inventory you want to purchase. So in your guys' opinion, what do you think is the benefit to understanding your forecasted sales? And again, feel free to jump off of mute or type in the chat. And if Marisol, if you could, are you able to manage chat, or Kimberly?
Yep, just taking attendance right now.
Okay, perfect.
But yes, I will be able to do that as soon as I'm done.
Thank you. So again, what do you guys think is the benefit of understanding your forecasted sales?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Keto. I wanted to say that it would help you to determine your profit, how much you will profit based on the cost of
Absolutely.
your average daily sales.
Absolutely, right? Like it's important to understand how much you're spending and how much you're making. You don't want to be spending more than you're making. That's not going to be a fun time, right? We'll go out of business. So absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. Next up would be ordering supplies. So after forecasting, we will have the information that we need to order the right number of supplies in order to create our product. And in our case, again, we really only have to worry about oranges right now. And we need to figure out how much we need to order to produce the number of glasses sold per day. Next up is going to be collecting cash from both your customer, but also being able to pay your suppliers. So if we are looking to increase our revenues, we can increase our volume of sales or increase our pricing. We can also focus on the cost of goods sold to help us save and impact our bottom line. One way to reduce the cost of production is to actually review our suppliers. So to someone's point earlier, where are we getting the goods from? How good are said goods, right? So it's very, very important for you to consider multiple suppliers and take into consideration who you're working with and how much you're spending. Regularly evaluating your suppliers and their relationship with you can help give us insight into driving revenues. Next, we're going to take a look at actually calculating our revenues. So once we understand the cost of producing our product and what our sales forecast is looking like, we can begin to then calculate our revenues. So how much we're making overall. When we calculate our cost of sales, that is going to help us understand the health of our business. And we also want to understand what it costs to produce our products, as that has a huge impact on our bottom line profits. Last but not least, we're going to get to the point of analyzing margins and bottom line. So this will help us see where we may have opportunity to reduce costs and increase revenue. So we want to be providing our clients with the best possible product, but we also want to make sure that we're being profitable for our business. So in your guys' opinion, how often as a business owner should we be focusing on understanding your business operations?
At least once a month.
Once a
Every
month?
day.
Every day. I like it. Anyone else? I see daily in the chat.
Daily, I agree, daily or at least every week.
Wouldn't you say daily too, Karina? Because what if you're in a business where you don't do the same thing every day? Maybe you have to do this to figure out Mondays are your strongest days and Tuesdays you might need to shut down and call it your day off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think it's something that we do need to focus on daily, right? And it's something that we need to be able to adapt with too. To your point, if you know that your business is slower on a Tuesday and busier on Monday, we have to be able to plan for that. And we need to be able to figure out how much by when, right? So it's definitely something that we should be focusing on daily and breaking it down. And if we didn't do this yesterday, how much do we need to do today to be able to make up for what we didn't get done yesterday? Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect.
I believe in the power of the checklist and sticky notes.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking to my heart.
Listen, I'm still one of those who in this process, right? Calculating, remembering, I will leave you a sticky note on your chair, on your desk, and then email you and be like, oh yeah, check it. Like, so for me, having that in order of processing all day, like what do I do in the morning? What do I do? And what is my bottom line before the end of the day? All of that is included in those calculations.
Mm-hmm. You should see my desk a lot of the time. It's either sticky notes or I'm constantly putting reminders in my email. We do a million things in the day. So writing stuff down definitely helps you stay on track. So I totally get that and agree with you 100% there.
Color-coded notes, everything.
All right, so
Karina,
yeah.
we have a question in the chat. Jess wants to know, is this something that we can do ourselves, or is there a consultant that can help us, like AI for website creation?
So that's a really good question. So we're actually going to take a closer look into each step and how all of this will get done. I'm sure that there are programs online that can definitely help you keep track of everything and adjust everything. But I'm going to break things down for you. We're going to keep it pretty simple for today. Just for the sake of time today. But there's always people that you can go to get extra help from. Absolutely, especially when you're starting up.
Did that answer your question, Jess? I see that you also raised your hand. If you want to come off of mute. Okay. Yeah. All right then, Karina. I think that's probably okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So if we head on over to the next slide, we'll start taking a deeper dive into forecasting. So again, being able to make a daily forecast on how many glasses you think will sell for each of your products will help you plan your production. So again, it's all about planning. You know, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. I'm super corny and goofy with stuff like with sayings like that, so don't pick on me, but it's so true. So always make sure you have a plan in place. So we are going to be basing our forecast today on the expected demand according to the base volume here. So what we're going to be talking about today is going to be based on 250 glasses. So in order for us to purchase the right number of oranges and drive efficiency for the business, we need to be able to forecast how much juice we're going to sell during the next time period. So the best way to do this is to look at our daily averages. So of course, we're never going to know for certain, and there's always going to be a deviation, but we can set up a high base and low forecast number. So as you guys can see, our highest volume a day will be 300 glasses. The lowest will be 200. Therefore, the middle of that, which will be our base, is going to be 250. And that's kind of the sweet spot there for us. Now, developing a strong tracking system for our sales can help you quickly identify trends and ensure that you guys have a strong insight into how your business is performing. So let me ask you guys this now. How often do you forecast sales for your business? And what is the benefit of having said insight to your business?
Feel free to come off of mute, guys, or put it in the chat there.
I try to do mine daily because for one, I want to anticipate what I want to make. And then I try to make sure that if I don't make that on a Monday, how much more do I have to produce on a Tuesday so that I can make up for that Monday as well as maintain my Tuesday.
Okay, I like it. Anyone else?
Sophia says daily, weekly, and monthly.
I love that as well. Anyone else?
Mine comes in, I can't even say daily or weekly. And I know it sounds difficult, but depending on which direction, if it comes from social media, that can be within hours, depending on how that information articulates, where it can also be yearly, monthly. So it really floods in on how I capture it, depending on how the business rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can vary based on your business type and what exactly you're doing for business. So you guys are the best judges of your business. So it's not going to be a cookie cutter answer for everyone here. So it'll be different for everyone. Now, I think we have another chat.
Yep, Sophia has a question. If you want to come off of mute.
Yes, hi everyone. So I put in the
Hi.
chat mine's hi. Mine is a monthly, well, daily, weekly, and monthly. We set up the month of obviously we retail, we have a candle business. So we retail what we want to sell for the month. And then I break that up into a weekly goal and then into a daily goal.
I think that's really smart. Absolutely.
Susan says she's service-based, so she assesses the amount coming in monthly and then decides how many more students she could take on. And Crystal says daily, and Rashonda agrees with Candace. That's a good method.
Absolutely. To the comment about being service-based, I actually know an individual who owns her own, oh my Lanta, why, and my brain is blanking. It doesn't want to come up with words. But she's a personal fitness trainer, and she has to calculate how many clients she can take on in a month, right? So to that point, if you have 8 people booked for the following month, you know you can add on 2, but you don't want to overextend yourself either. So again, it's different for every business. But I think you guys all have the right mindset. Now, once a forecast of sales can be developed, we can also begin to calculate our projected revenues. And that's one of the biggest reasons why you guys are doing this, right? We want to make sure that we're profitable. So if we head on over to the next slide, we're going to start talking about some revenue calculations. And since we have a pretty good understanding around forecasting, we can get a better sense of how much revenue our business is going to be generating. So I know it shows it on here, but so who can tell me what the basic calculation we can use to help figure out what our revenue is?
Price times volume.
That's right, price times volume. So for the juice shop, we know that we're going to sell 250 glasses per day at $4 a glass. So roughly on average, we'll have $1,000 in revenue each day. Now that we have an idea of our daily sales profit, we'll want to take a look at how much it costs to produce 250 glasses of juice. So yes, we are earning $1,000 in revenue, but how much is that going to cost us, right? So understanding our cost of goods sold, that'll give us a clear picture of our profits. So by taking a closer look at our suppliers, we can determine the most cost-effective way to produce our product. So let's take a closer look at what that might look like for our juice shop. And that's going to be on the next slide. So as we work to make our business operations the most efficient as possible, we'll want to ensure that we're regularly evaluating our suppliers to guarantee that we're getting quality materials to produce our product in the most cost-effective way. So ensuring that we have the right number of oranges will help us eliminate waste and reduce cost. Can we get a copy of these slides? I don't see why not. I'm sure we can get it sent out to you. Absolutely.
Yep, we'll be sending it out in our follow-up email.
Okay, perfect. So yes, so we want to eliminate waste and reduce costs. So we have a few options to choose from when it comes to our suppliers. So supplier 1 will be Juicy Gems, and supplier 2 is going to be Orange Organic. I know, super, super clever names. So as we can see for supplier 1, Juicy Gems, they're the most cost effective. They're easier to transport and quicker delivery times. They have some average flavor though. If we look at supplier 2, they're more expensive. They sell out quickly, so you have to plan ahead for ordering, and they are also organic, and their oranges taste better. So I'm gonna ask a few questions in a row here. So guys, I appreciate you guys participating as much as possible. So what may be the benefit of selecting Juicy Gems versus supplier 2?
Saves you money and it's easier to get, and you don't have to plan as far ahead.
Okay, yeah, anyone else?
Feel free to come off of mute, guys. Put it in the chat. Tiff said delivery time.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall, the first one is more sustainable.
Okay, yep.
You
Like
get your
long term.
product faster. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done. Sorry.
It's okay. I was just saying you'll get your product faster. I don't know if she said that or not. You won't have to wait for it as long.
Mhm.
I don't know. In the beginning of this course, we started talking about the bougie selection of people, and I can't exactly say how we were saying, about the persons. Remember that conversation, you all? So I'm almost to the point where I think I want mine organic, so it's worth the wait. So I'm willing to wait.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, value. I was thinking that the juicery gems is you can get a lot in quantity, but the organic you get more quality.
Right. So the possible benefits of working with Juicy Gems could be they're a little more cost effective, right? And they're easier to access. However, to that point of the clientele that we're working with, right? So some of the drawbacks of working with Juicy Gems might be our clients are a little more health conscious and they may want organic oranges and they want to pay for better quality. So I think, again, you guys kind of hit that nail right on the head. Now, in addition to what you guys have already said, what do you think would be some other benefits of selecting supplier 2, Orange Organic?
You could charge a higher cost for them, a higher price for
Mm-hmm.
the juice you make out of the organic oranges.
Yep.
More revenue.
I think Crystal
you-
agrees that there's value because it's an organic orange product. So
Yeah, I was saying, I feel like some people don't mind paying extra. We're in a stage now where people are into the healthy thing, into the, organic or, fresh and green. So like I said, I would keep maybe a smaller supply of the more expensive oranges because they will be in demand. But I would definitely still do supplier 1 as well because some people don't care about having the organic oranges. They'll say, oh, it's freshly squeezed. I don't care as long as it's good and it's fresh. I don't have to have organic, especially for the extra money, because some people don't want to pay it, but some people do.
Right. And I'm thinking about the fact that we do live in a world where no one wants GMOs, no one wants, the gluten. So it's a special market and just about everywhere you go nowadays, from restaurants to grocery stores to, how clothes are made. So I don't know, there's just this selection of that organic flavor that says you're probably going to just bring a higher end customer, more of a quality customer as well. Someone who may say, you know what, I'm pleased with this. The other one would say, well, this is just average. And then you got returns on it. I always think about that. It's just average, so I don't know. That's for me. I think I would definitely stick with the turnaround of the Orange Organic, and give Tropicana a run for their money because I have something that they don't have easy accessible.
Well, isn't one of the drawbacks to Orange Organic is the fact that they sell out? So what if I go up there at 2 o'clock and you just sold out? That's gonna make me mad. So
That's okay, baby, because I want you to come back tomorrow. So I'm gonna give you a better price. And if you just work with me, your oranges will come straight off of that truck. And as I'm going to make it so that I can call you and tell you when it gets in, because I don't have the long, unnecessary lines waiting. I can customize me and your conversation. Now, how do you want yours served? Do you want a whole case of them? Because that means that I'll put yours up first before the other customers come in. We can work this out. No need to get upset, dear.
See, I'm not Solar, the community's daughter. You so awesome, but guess what? I'm not holding your juice because what if you don't come? And I done held your juice for 3 hours, and I could have sold this juice 3 hours ago. I'm gonna sell your juice.
One of my potential things is that all my clients will tell you one thing about the community's daughter. I earned every right of it, so I'm never going to let you down. And I have a team to make sure of that, so I'm not going to work alone to guarantee that you have what you need. And that's how I sustain my client base to this day.
Nice. I'm still selling your juice.
I love this, guys. Sandra and Keto make a good point about Keto said to do a survey to understand who your customer is, and then Sandra said that the answer is based around who your target customer is. So
Yeah, absolutely. So selecting organic, right? They're gonna give you that higher quality and you're gonna have that better product. And to someone's point about selling out early, right? Like that's where it comes into play of forecasting. So if you start selling out early, then you know that you're gonna be able to order more and sustain ordering more. So all great things, and I love the participation. I love where you guys are thinking, and I think you guys are definitely on the right track with everything. All right, so now I think we've fully determined, right, who's best for our business. Would you guys think you've decided that?
Get
Please
some
go with.
thumbs up out here, guys. Do you agree? Yes or no? Put in the chat. Carolina says she thinks freshly squeezing would be a way to avoid running out because unpeeled oranges have a longer shelf life.
Absolutely. So let's investigate how much each supplier is going to actually cost you. So if we move on to the next slide. So our decision on which supplier to select may actually come down to cost or how we want to differentiate ourselves in the market against our competitors. So let's review how we determine the cost of our raw materials based on the number of sales that we have forecasted. So as we can see here, if we go with supplier one and we're going to use 250 for each, right? 250 of glasses of juice every day, and we're keeping the numbers there the same for each supplier. So we are going to determine how many raw materials we need, and then that's going to determine what the average cost is for the materials. And we're going to be using the cost per orange is $1 for supplier one. Supplier two is $2 per orange. And so if we are totaling the cost of raw materials, so we're going to do C times D equals E. So how much we need versus how much it costs, how much we're spending. So if we're using supplier one, we're going to be spending $250 to get that amount that we need to provide to our clients. If we're going with supplier two, we're going to be spending $500. And that's a day in raw materials, okay? So whereas daily revenue calculations equaled price times volume, daily cost calculations are always going to actually boil down to the number of materials needed times cost per material times daily volume. So again, after seeing this and how much it's going to cost for the business, which supplier do you guys think would be the best option based on what you know about the business? And do you think it's an opportunity for us to stand out?
I know we're all silent. Like it's like when the numbers get in front of you and it gets real, right? Let's just when the numbers get in front of you and you're looking like, okay, as good as that organic sounds,
Yeah.
right? It's a little bit on the pricey side. So I'm not sure how to answer, but I will say this: numbers make you think differently.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. It's a little eye-opening, right? Anyone else have a different opinion?
So I think, okay, when you look at these numbers, then it's almost like the juicy gems. But other things we have to take into consideration as well is like long-term growth, because what are the costs when you increase your sales? So sometimes the materials are cheaper the bigger the greater quantities that you can make, and also what is your profit margin, like your goal for your profit margin, because I guess if one or the other is in your goal and then the organic one meets your target market, I think all of that goes into play too. Like, it's not just a cost thing.
Absolutely. Do we have a hand raised?
Yes, this is Keto. So I'm going to approach this from a radical perspective. And I'm
Okay.
thinking about sustainability. So as a customer, we might attract you to even try us out 1 or 2 times, but with supplier 1, the taste is not that great. So that's and and if I'm walking to, as far as my numbers, and the numbers tell you the truth, I would lean towards strongly considering supplier 2 from a sustainability perspective, and then it would force me to definitely be spot on with forecasting, making sure that I have inventory, and just turning that inventory and being very intimate with the shelf life of the oranges so that I could be able to service customers based on my daily activity. And then my price is my price as long as I'm providing good product.
I think that's important too. Absolutely, right? And I think creating a client-centric culture in your business is huge too. And you guys will create repeat clients to that point. But I think being able to look at the hard numbers, it definitely is eye-opening. After all, based on this scenario, right now, just off the bat, we're charging $4 a glass, right? So if that's all you sell is orange juice, you might as well have the best product, right? You want to make the best of what you're offering your clients, and you want your repeat customers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a closer look at how income statements and gross margins can be scorecards for our business and keeping everything on track.
Marina, sorry. I know we had some Keto brought up a point, and we had a couple people raise their hands, so I think they wanted to add to that. Denisha, go ahead and come off of off of mute, and then Jenna.
Okay, so my question really quick was, I wanted to know, what was your question at the beginning? Because I kind of was looking at the numbers for a while and I came to my own conclusion, but then I was like, wait, does this answer the question? So do you mind repeating the question?
Oh yeah, no problem. So after kind of analyzing the numbers, which supplier do you really think would be the best option based on what we know about the business so far? And is it an opportunity for us to stand out based on the supplier that we're going with and what we're offering? So kind of
Okay,
two parts.
so I would say supplier 2 already has their thing that separates them, which is them being organic. But I feel like overall supplier number 2 would be the best, not just because of the numbers, although they do look good. It's the fact that we got the information at the beginning that they sell out every day despite their price being higher. So I would go with number 2, but I am curious to know, I would be able to bring more of an opinion once I know like how many glasses they sell per day.
Yep, absolutely. That's definitely something we're going to be talking about, because right now we're just talking about the base number and basing everything off of 250 glasses a day. And that's just the average, because some days are going to be higher, some days are going to be lower. So it really all boils down to kind of reworking numbers based on how business is going across the period of time that we're looking at. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes, it does.
Perfect.
I just
And
wanted to
Jana.
bring up a point that if they set their business that they're only gonna sell organic juice, but this orange organic supplier tends to sell out often, what is their plan if they're out of oranges and so is the supplier? They cannot buy them from Juicy Gems because they're not organic, and then they can't sell it and say it's organic juice. So that would be my hesitation as to only having one supplier for this, and knowing that supplier, I mean, price irregardless, you know, like if it doesn't matter how much they cost them, you can't get them. So I would be hesitant to only have one supplier option if I was selling something like this.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really smart to think about, because to your point, if the only supplier that you're working with is totally sold out and you can't get anything from them, you're gonna shut down your business for a day. What's that gonna do to your P&L report, right? So at that point, you would want to take into consideration having multiple suppliers and possibly even looking at a third option, right? So definitely huge reasoning as to why it's so important to be able to shop around and see who would work best for your business and take all of these things into consideration. I know it's a lot, but it's all super important to make sure that your business is successful.
Karina,
Yeah.
I think I know Keto brought up Starbucks, right? And how they demand the price per transaction. And I think you know, we're talking a lot. I think that kind of fits, right? Because Starbucks is obviously sells you coffee for a lot higher than other people would, right? So how do they do it, you know?
Yeah, and I think someone had said earlier that we're kind of in a time where people are less hesitant to pay for more expensive things, especially if they find something that they like. You know, I think people are more willing to pay for quality these days. Would you guys agree with that?
Feel free to come off mute. I think Candace raised her hand there.
I believe with Starbucks too, they give out a lot of incentives. You got to give out like free cups or free coffees or a reward system or a point system or a card system or something like that. You don't really get as many rewards at Tim Hortons and things of that nature. They still have the cups and everything, but Starbucks has coupons and everything that goes around. They have a little bit more edge that kind of differentiates them from Tim Hortons. And then with Tim Hortons, that's pretty much like out of like a international type of coffee. Starbucks is like locally too, so that should go into play as well as to when you're marketing what makes you different.
Absolutely. And I know for a fact Starbucks, they try to create the experience, right? Like they're huge on customer service. And what I want you guys to think about when it comes to your customer service portion of the business is being the best part of your client's day and creating that positive experience. Even if you're not having a great day, right? Like still being that positive reinforcement for your client and being the best part of their day. And again, kind of going back to that client-centric culture, customer service is huge. And I know even at Starbucks, right, like setting them apart from other companies, people tend to go there and study a lot. And I know that if you stay in there, you can get a free refill. And I don't think that that's a lot. I don't think a lot of other companies do that. I don't actually know of any other companies that really do that. So speaking of setting yourself apart from other companies, that you got to figure out how you want to do that, right? So great points, guys. Do we have anything else on this topic before we move on?
I would add also that I love there's something that Starbucks does on top of all the marketing and the wonderful brand they've created, is they have such a monopoly on social media and like Gen Z, Gen X, millennials. And I love the fact that they even have this thing where they do what I love is like mystery drinks. There's like a mystery menu at Starbucks that they have that most people don't even know about. And the one thing about them is that if you have a drink that you like, and then you have the recipe, they will actually curate that drink for you if you have the recipe, which I don't know any other coffee company that does that.
No, I don't either. And again, you guys are thinking of great things that sets them aside from other companies. And yeah, their coffee might be more expensive, but again, they're creating the experience for their clients and they're getting repeat customers. So something's working, right?
I also think that people believe that you get what you pay for. So if you're paying more, you're getting a better quality. So I think that a lot of times Starbucks sells a lot, or say if you get organic, you believe you're getting a better quality. And I think it's all about how they advertise it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think you're all right on that.
I was just thinking that for this particular company, especially if they're just starting out, I would definitely offer regular and organic, and you could charge $4.50 for the organic and $3.75 for the regular one. You'd make more profit on the regular one, and you'd get to see which one people buy more before you say that you only sell organic. And if you realize that everyone coming in just buys the cheaper one and doesn't really care if it's organic, then you don't have to like change all your marketing and then switch suppliers and stuff like that. You can have a little bit of each and kind of do it as like a market testing and see what works.
Oh, Jana, that's a good point, because do you guys hear about the vegan restaurant that's in Buffalo, New York, that are now starting to offer regular meals because they're realizing that everyone isn't coming to the restaurant anymore for vegan food, and they're kind of like taking flack for it. So it's almost like you got to think about, should I service everybody or should I just go after one particular person? And as a business owner, that kind of puts you in a bad frame of mind, because some people will like, well, I'm not gluten free and I don't want to have, just mushrooms. I want meat with my thing too. But you like, that's not where my business was headed. But my bank account is telling me I need to sell a burger.
But I think that's where you also stop losing faith in your own business. We go into business because to fulfill a need, to solve a problem. And for me, I believe if I was a vegan restaurant and I went into business believing that my service, my food, my product is for a particular person, I have to go into it knowing that there's that risk factor. We get into business, we're going to take a risk that it may not take off. It may not be a multi-million-dollar business, yet I have to stand fast. I'm vegan. I'm not serving meat. Just to give you an example, I come from a family that owns 2 restaurants. Me personally, don't ask me to cook for you all. I will host. I'm not cooking. That's not happening. But my family does own 2 restaurants. And one of them they're both soul food. Yet one of them catered to a particular type of soul food. They're not going Creole. They're not blackening the chicken. You're going to go in. My mom's going to fry the chicken. You're going to eat fried or baked chicken. That's what it is. If you come in, you eat, you eat. The other one caters to more of a Creole soul. And they stay very in their own lane, and their customer base, as long as they stay true to it, has built up because they've stayed true to it. So for me, I would have to stay with my organic and make it like a Starbucks specialty, because everyone doesn't drink Starbucks, but at the end of the day, Starbucks has expanded.
Okay, but then when do you take into consideration, because this vegan restaurant is not new. So do you take into consideration like, okay, my business is not turning over profit like we were, and I'm at the point where I might lose my business, where I can't maintain my lifestyle or take care of my children or take care of what I'm taking care of, because I don't want to offend my people that I was targeting. I think that's, again, where we are as business owners, where you're putting a higher spot, because no matter what anybody tells me, whether I'm vegan, organic, or sell all the meat in the world, I'm not going to let my business plummet as opposed to offering another service or another product.
I was just about to say the same thing I saw in the chat. the thing. It may be a situation of marketing and finding your target market and then staying top of the mind awareness. Many
I was
times,
about to say, Sola, I
Go ahead.
totally agree with what you're saying. Like that, I feel like the problem, like when businesses start to realize maybe like the profit's not gaining and like they're losing customers, I think that that means that there's a miscommunication in the messaging about your company. So that means you have to dial back and say, well, what's not working? What am I doing? What line is not getting connected to my customer that I'm here, I'm doing vegan, I'm offering this? Is it the location? Is it the marketing? Is it the wording? Is it the actual food? Like you have to figure out, but I felt like that has to go into the research you put into really going through and taking the time to discover who your customer is.
Yeah.
Because
But
all these
as a
brands that are like all these big brands like Starbucks, and they are very clear on who their customer is.
Exactly.
but is
But
it
but
wrong
these
as a
places are
business
not
to pivot?
Starbucks compatible, and I just have to agree to disagree with that one, because if my business is doing something good for the last 15 years and then we're getting into different times and the times is changing and people's mind frames is changing and people's bank accounts are changing, it's not the business, it's the people, it's the target audience that I was targeting that are now changing their minds. So why as a business is it our fault that our target audience, which was really good, is gone now?
It's top of the mind awareness. And I think a lot of times as smaller business, we look at larger businesses like McDonald's, Burger King, and those as an example, right? And forget that one is home of the Big Mac, one is home of the McChicken, right? I'm just saying yeah, both of them, they got their own things. I think what we miss sometimes is staying top of the mind awareness. Vegans are always around. Going back to that. It's how are we communicating that message with them? How are we making sure that we're saying to them, you know what, you don't have to go anywhere for this anymore because we're right here for you. We're part of this. We're making it accessible to you. We're with Uber Eats. We're with Grubhub. We can get it delivered to you. You can dine in. You can dine out. We got this. You buy this many burgers. I think it's really about staying top of the mind and bringing your customers in. And most businesses do go through a law, especially restaurant businesses. That's a situation where either like you don't. But for me, I'm still getting to the point where understanding my business, if I would have folded when people kept telling me, Solar, you're just all over the place. Nobody understands what take a Solar moment is and why you got so much energy. If I would have felt like a restaurant owner who wanted to fold, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. And it got that hard because I was
think
not making money.
Solar,
That
I
makes
think you bring
sense.
up a
Thank you.
great point. And I just want to say, guys, like this was a really lively debate and I loved every second. This is an awesome topic. Karina, I'm sure you agree. I just want to point out, Tony did say that it's probably time that that the restaurant or anyone that finds themselves in that particular situation, that it might be time to pivot, right? But not in the opposite direction, which is a very interesting point, Tony. So completely love this. I want to point out that we do have the LinkedIn group as well. Just a quick reminder, because this is the type of conversations that I would love to see in there, right? Trying to figure out these things. And also just like the points that we come up with during class that really stuck out to us. So, just want to push the group as well. So Karina, let's take it away because I know we're on a time crunch here. Thank you, guys.
And Marisol, your point too, I think everyone here has very valid points. And as a business owner, you have to learn to roll with the punches. But next we are going to take a closer look at how income statements and gross margins can be scorecards for your business, right? So super, super important and definitely something that you want to consistently utilize. So taking the time to actually break down these calculations and determine your costs of doing business and the revenues that you generate is an important step in helping you gain insight into the health of your business. So as we can see, the income statement is the scorecard for our business, right? So it tells us how much revenue we generate and deducts our expenses. So this will tell how much profit or income our business is generating. So let me ask you guys this now. How would you use your income statement? And what is the benefit of having a clear idea of your revenues and expenses?
Feel free to come off chat or off mute, guys. Put it in the chat.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Karina. I don't fully understand that, so
I think
I can't comment.
that understanding your income statement would allow you.
I think that was Keto talking. You put yourself on mute. But also, to Candace's point, Karina, do you mind explaining that a little bit more so that make sure everyone understands? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So your income statement, right? So what are you spending and how much are you earning? So what is your actual profit for the business? So how can you utilize your income statement? So think of it like a paycheck, right? But for your business, right? That's how we can think of it right now. So what's the benefit to having a clear idea of your revenues versus your expenses? So how much are you spending versus how much are you making?
So you
Make sure you
can
don't overspend.
know what your
Knowing,
profits are.
yeah, know what your profit margin is, know what you're bringing in so that you can budget better before you just go buy too many items or you're not paying your bills the right way because you're not clear on what you're spending or what you have. So I think it's important to know those numbers so that you don't take your own business into the red.
Absolutely. And we have in the chat to know how much you're making accurately. Absolutely.
Did you want to add to that, Keto?
Yes. Also understand, can you hire additional staff
Keto,
to
we're having
grow,
issues
to take
hearing
it
you.
from the
Sorry.
position that you're in based on what?
Oh, Keto, sorry, we're
Can you hear
having
me?
issues hearing you. I did turn off
No?
your video, but I don't think it's helping. Yeah, if you want to put it in the chat, I can read it off. Did anyone else want to answer that? No. Okay, I think we can move on. Karina. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of this really helps us as business owners to see trends in our performance, right? So when we have busier times versus our slower times, and that entirely helps us plan more accordingly. So now we're going to move on to talk more about our gross margin equals revenue minus the cost of goods sold. So our gross margin is, oh, we're gonna stay on the other slide for a second, I'm sorry.
Also, Keto did say it'll help you understand if you can hire additional staff.
Yeah, great point. It all ties together very, very well. Right there. There, we're gonna stay there. So gross margin is important because it actually gives us the visibility as a business owner into how we're managing our cost of raw materials. It allows us to determine if we're driving profitable top of the line growth. And cost of goods sold, technically speaking, includes raw materials and direct labor. So I love the point of mentioning it's going to allow us to decide if we can bring on additional team members, if we can afford that, right? If we can afford to expand. So for the purpose of the juice shop and this exercise, we're just going to focus on the raw material calculations that we did, okay? So a lot of this is going to come down to why do we want to understand the cost of goods sold? So understanding what it costs us to make a product gives us the opportunity to then reduce those costs. And a lot of the time, it's going to help us see if we can add in a product that will be beneficial to driving profits. So what we're going to do now is we're going to explore the concept of cost of goods sold a bit further with an example of trying to increase profitability. So when we move on to this next slide, we are going to talk about exploring the option of selling fruit baskets at our juice shop for the holiday season to help drive revenue and test out a new product, right? Because again, it's all about rolling with the punches, being able to accommodate with change and make sure that we are running a profitable business. So after speaking with our customers and comparing with our competitors, we are deciding that it may be a good idea to increase revenues and offer more value to our clients. So now we need to make sure, how can we produce a basket that will have the highest profit and the lowest cost to produce? So we have two options when it comes to the fruit basket that we are going to be adding to the shop: a standard basket or an upgraded basket. So let's look at which one will be the most profitable for us as business owners. Now, the standard basket would be priced to sell at $30 a basket. And if we look at the cost of goods sold, we see that it costs us $10 for the fruit, $5 for the basket, which is a total of $15. So our gross profit would be $15, which makes our gross margin 50%. Now, the upgraded version would sell for $35 per basket. The cost of goods sold would include $15 worth of fruit and other goods. And we need a bigger and a little more fancier basket for $6. Our total cost to make up the basket actually increases to $21 a basket, leaving us with a gross profit of $14, and the gross margin is then 40%. So at that point, by taking the time to explore the cost of goods sold, we can see that providing a fancier basket with more product and charging more may not necessarily be the best option to help us maximize our revenue and what we're making for the business. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the juice shop and just look at an income statement and gross margins. So if we go to the next slide, there we go. So we went through these important calculations for the juice shop. So let's apply everything and put it all together into an income statement, okay? So revenue equals price times volume. So that's going to be 250 times 4 gives us the $1,000. Assuming we go with organic, our raw material costs equals the average number of glasses per day times oranges per glass times cost per orange. So we're going to do 250 times 1 times 2 is that 500 that we talked about earlier. So gross profit is going to equal revenue minus our cost of goods sold, which in this case is just our raw materials because we're simplifying and not including direct labor. But that is still something that we want to think about. So that is going to be $1,000 minus $500. So our gross profit is going to be $500. So this table alone shows how useful it can be to keep track of our gross profit margin and how useful that is over time. Plus, you'll be able to see if the business is growing, remaining steady, or if we need to figure out what we need to do to be able to make it profitable. So we're going to, we already calculated everything, right? So our gross profit divided by our total revenue based on this is 50%. And that alone is a great profit margin for our juice shop. But as business owners, we should always be looking for ways to increase our profits and reduce costs. So let's see what happens when we try to double our daily profits. We're going to move on to the next slide. And in this activity, we're going to be thinking about how we can go from $500 in daily gross profit and hit a new target of $1,000 in daily gross profit. Now, there's multiple levers that we can look at to construct a new income statement and arrive at our gross profit goal. So what do you guys think are some of the ways that our juice shop can increase profits?
They can raise their price. They can increase their marketing to get more customers in so that they could sell more fruit baskets and other things like that. Or they could try and find a new supplier that is cheaper on those organic oranges.
Absolutely, I agree with everything there. I see in the chat reducing costs, sell merch, host healthy living workshops. Ooh, I love that. Limiting waste by making each glass fresh. Sell juice bundles, advertising. Do we have anyone else that wants to come off of mute? I think everyone is spot on, right? So there's a multitude of ways that we can help increase our gross profit. So we can increase the price, we can increase the volume, or we can even offer a discount, or we can reduce costs. In the chat, we also have providing packages for corporate clients like meetings, etc. in bulk, sell holiday themed drinks. I love your guys' thought process. So if we move on to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit more about the 3 levers that we can pull to hit our daily gross profit targets. So the first thing would be to increase the price of what we're selling. So if volume and cost stay equal, by how much would we have to increase the price to hit our target? So that's something we always want to take into consideration, right? We could then talk about increasing the volume. So if the price and cost stay the same, how many additional daily glasses would we have to sell to reach our target at that point? And the third option would be offering a discount. So what would happen if we offered a 25% discount? How many more units would we have to sell to meet our goal of increasing profit while actively lowering the price? So let's talk as a group of how each of these 3 things can affect our goal of increasing our profit margin, and what would be the most effective in your opinion?
Tiff says selling another type of juice.
Okay, yeah, increase price. Tony, you think increasing price would be the most effective?
If you want to come off of mute, Tony. Anybody else? Oh, she says yes.
How come? What's the why behind it?
Hop off of mute, Tony. Join us.
Okay. I think that may be the quickest way, especially if their pricing has kind of been the same for a while. And it doesn't have to necessarily stay at the increased price for a long period of time, but at least to just get them to maybe those months where they need to double up because maybe other months they're a little bit slower. So I think increasing the price would be the quickest way to do it because again, if we're working with the supplier that runs out every day, then we may not have the supply to increase volume necessarily.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think we have a raised hand.
Yeah, that's me. I was thinking if they're gonna offer the discount, they should offer the discount on a higher quantity. So it's like you could buy 2, save $1 or something like that, because then you'll get more revenue in the door and people feel like they have more of a discount, like it's a lot cheaper, but it really isn't, and they're spending more money when they come in. So more dollars per customer, unless they're gonna increase their their marketing to bring more people in the door.
Absolutely. I really like the 2-4 discount, right? I like the idea of it still increasing your profit while still offering somewhat of a discount, but you're still generating more sales. Absolutely.
Carolina says you can use a gradual increase to avoid losing customers as well.
Absolutely. Gradual increase rather than all of a sudden it jumping up $3 a glass and then your clients are like, where did this come from? What the heck? Right?
Mm-hmm. And Tiff says price and discount.
I love it. I love it. Anyone else?
No one in the chat?
All right. All right, so we are going to move on to the next slide and kind of dig in a little bit deeper. So again, if our total daily revenue goal is $1,000 based on our volume of 250 cups and the price being $4, our total cost per day, $500 based on $2 per cup and 250 cups per day, revenue minus those costs gives us a $500 gross profit, which leads us to the gross margin of 50%. So if we are able to increase the price, our volume of 250 cups a day at $6 a cup, and sales can stay the same, and the cost to make the juice can also remain the same, this has the potential to actually increase the daily revenue to $1,500 rather than just $1,000. So we're over exceeding our original goal and increasing our gross margin to actually 66%, which is huge. And I think we can all agree there that there's a big benefit to raising our price by simply even just $2, right? But I think there was a good point in the chat, right? Like being able to gradually do that, because what could be a risk if you immediately jump up your prices significantly? We can lose clients, right? So you don't want to put yourself at risk to having increased prices as well. You want to make sure that you have a strong client base, and you want to make sure that they're still going to continue coming back even with those increased prices. So definitely some food for thought there, but being able to overly exceed our goal is absolutely huge. Now, if we were to go the increasing volume route to reach our goal of 1,000, we need to increase the volume to 500 glasses versus 250, which is double of what we're doing now. And if you guys remember from our previous forecasting, during our highest volume, we were only selling 300 glasses a day. So while that's a great way to increase the bottom line, how would we be able to increase volume? What would we need to do to bring in additional clients? So if we take the increasing volume route, what do you guys think would be the best way to bring in additional clients?
To lower the price back down.
Okay. A promotion, I see in chat.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so when we're talking about increasing volume, so we're gonna leave the price the same, right? If we increase volume, we're gonna leave the price the same at $4 a cup. We're just gonna increase our goal to selling 500 glasses a day versus 250, okay? So to be able to increase the volume of people coming in that much more, how can we bring that many more people in?
I would hold an event.
I love that.
Like a show or something, or go and do, you know, bring things to offsite events, maybe doing like a pop-up shop somewhere. You might need additional staff for a day and a table or something like that, but you might be able to do stuff like that, or possibly see if you can go somewhere with a bunch of juice and do little like shot samples, and then you can sell them. Or give out coupons or something like that to get more people to come in the door.
I like the sample idea. I think that's great. And I think clients love that too. People rarely say no to a free sample, right?
There's some good suggestions in the chat. Contract with schools, business organizations, with schools and businesses and organizations. Sorry. There's a discount that you can give, pop-up shop in a different area, advertise to new locations, a rewards program, or click ticket. After 8 stamps on a card, you'll get free juice. Marketing ads, craft shows, fairs. Tony says join a champagne company for mimosa bars. Jamie says definitely social media, creating fun TikToks, partnering with local businesses, offering SNAP and EBT is a really good one. Also, that was iPhone 2. Please put in the chat who you are so that I can mark you present. Thank you. Sophia says, or similar businesses, fancier versions of drinks that include health supplements. Thank you. Great suggestions, guys.
Yeah, I love all of these ideas. They're very creative, and I think it all comes down to being able to advertise for yourself, right? And also outsourcing. However, you have to take into consideration as to what that will cost the business as well. So again, a lot of different things to take into consideration, but you guys have awesome ideas, and you guys are definitely on the right track to becoming profitable. Gyms, fitness facilities, sponsorships. Yeah, I love all of it. There's a bunch of different ways, and there's multiple paths to get to the same destination. So it's really just figuring out what works best for you and your business. And there can be a trial and error period, of course, but all of this is really about just figuring out that there's going to be multiple things that work, and just figuring out what works best for you and your business. So if we dig a little deeper into the third option of offering a discount on your product. So let's say that we offer a 25% discount, and the price of our juice is now $3, with the cost of producing the juice remaining the same. We would need to increase our volume to 1,000 cups in order to reach our goal to generate $1,000 in revenue a day. So after offering a discount and needing to increase volume, our new gross margin is 33%. So offering a discount and just the discount, nothing else taken into consideration, we're charging lower prices, so you should expect a lower margin, right? So I think to your guys' points earlier of offering the punch cards and rewards and a 2 for a discount deal, I think those are definitely things that need to be taken into consideration. And I think that while discounts may be great, I think there's other ways to more quickly increase your profitability. And oftentimes as business owners, right, we think that by participating in Groupon sales or offering a discount that may attract new customers, that means that we'll drive awareness and generate more profit growth for our business. But that's not necessarily always the case. If we are producing a quality product, we should weigh our options to help us grow our business, right? And you should be confident in the product that you're offering. So in your guys' opinion, what is the benefit to doing an analysis on your business like this regularly?
helping to figure out where you can potentially make more revenue or where you might need to make more revenue.
Mhm.
Or how you can continuously check different suppliers. Maybe there's a new supplier that showed up who can provide organic oranges all the time for a third of the price. If you buy X number at once, so you'll know I need to make this much more revenue so I can buy 2 months worth of oranges and I can store them this way in order to make them last longer and all those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. There are, again, definitely multiple ways to drive profitability, and being able to stay on top of this regularly definitely gives us insight into ways that we can grow our business. So one thing that I want you guys to actually take a few minutes and do, roughly about 5 minutes or so, but take this time to think about everything that we've talked about. Again, I know it's a lot, but think about how it translates to your own business and you individually, and consider what is your average sales volume and how would adjusting your prices work for you. Volume or offering discounts, right? How does that impact your bottom line? And then if we could have a few of you share after those 5 minutes, that would be great. Does anyone have any questions before we take those next 5 minutes to work on your individual business numbers?
Actually, so I was gonna say, Karina, Keto brought up a good point. We usually take a 5-minute break in in the session, and we forgot to tell you that in the beginning. Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Keto, thank you so much for the reminder. So actually, what do you guys think? We'll do a full 10 minutes then, give you 5-minute break, and then 5 minutes to work on this. Is that okay with timing, Karina, for the rest of the presentation?
Yeah, that works for me. Sorry, guys. I've
Perfect.
just been rocking and rolling over here.
I know, and everyone is so involved. Jana said that she is nerding out because she loves this stuff. So thank you guys. I'm going to pause recording and we'll take that 10-minute break. So we will be back at 6:58. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be honest, seeing the numbers, I was always that person in school. If you put it in a word, I'm great. When it starts to look like algebra, I'm gonna take it 3 times, right? So seeing this equation is going to make me figure out my own algebraic number. How to take my company and make it profitable, yet making sure that I look at the numbers so I don't take a loss. I'm just starting to brand. I'm just getting into branding. So I'm trying to find this person to do this brand and what matches my brand, and does that merchandise, will it sell? So I guess for me looking at that, it's going to, one, I don't think I'm going to be using as many vendors, right? I was all over the place about a month ago with 10 vendors, different prices. And 2, I'm going to ask somebody to do my inventory so I don't reorder things that I don't necessarily need, because I feel like that's going to hurt me. So it really made me look a little deeper into how my numbers articulate and how successful I can be if I really pay closer attention to what I'm spending versus what I get in.
I love it. And I'm definitely, like, the idea can sound great, right? But once you put it on paper, it's pretty eye-opening. And being able to keep track of everything and plan for everything, it all works out in the long run. It takes some time to get there, but you'll make it happen. Who's next?
I think I learned to look at the big picture. So how much money I'm spending on doing my business as far as when I do presentations compared to how much revenue I'm bringing in, and being able to compare and look at what other people are doing. So it makes you just think of how much money you're actually spending compared to how much you're bringing back in, and being able to think about other companies and look at them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to stay significant too, right? And you want to stay competitive.
Jana, and then Rashonda.
I was just gonna say, like, this kind of stuff it's not what I expected to be something I nerd out on, but I totally do. And because of this program that I use, it helps me to do this on like a per product basis. That makes it really easy to see, like, is it worth making this product? And we make everything by hand in my company. So, our labor costs are considerable, right? So like materials are low, labor is high. And being able to track stuff like this and then figure out like, okay, well, if we can get better processes on making this particular item, if we can shave 5 minutes off the time it takes to make it, we're going to make this much more money on everyone that we sell. And there's certain products that I make that I really love and enjoy making, but they have a much lower profit margin than other things that are, you know, kind of monotonous and slightly boring to make that have a higher profit margin. But doing something like this across, like company wide, says, okay, well, if we can sell X number of these items that are, you know, higher volume, quicker to make, higher profit volume, like profit margin, then we can afford to make like these other things that are more fun and intricate and stuff like that. And I just really like getting into this kind of nitty gritty numbers thing, because it just reminds me about the best part about being a business owner is doing creative problem solving all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's my jam. And it's like, oh, we have this weird problem. Like we need more of these and less of these. And can we do some research and find a new place to buy that thing? Or can we come up with a material that we can source for free that's, you know, like somebody else's garbage to use to make this thing? And I just love that aspect of it. And I just want to share, I was listening to this podcast today that said accounting is the language of business. And there's a lot of people who are totally afraid of numbers and afraid of math from being in school and having them get crappy grades in math and stuff like that, and saying, you know, that Barbie that came out that said math is hard, right? Like math is not necessarily hard for all women, but people have tricked us into thinking that. But that once you learn it as a language, in general, all accounting is third grade math, right? It's like adding and subtracting, multiplying and division, and that's it. And so if you can get to the point where you can do those things with a calculator, like every single person in this group can do this kind of stuff. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I think to your point, being able to see the numbers and how the business is actually doing, right? The proof is in the pudding, and that can be so fulfilling, right? And it's okay if the numbers aren't working out in your favor for a short period of time. You'll make the adjustments to make sure that you are profitable, and that's why we're having this conversation today. And I just think, to your point, Jana, if you're even using a system to enter in all of these numbers and have it calculate things for you, to take time away from you being able to actually work at your business rather than just focusing hours upon hours on the numbers end of it. Like there's profitability in being able to spend $20 a month on a system that'll do that for you too, right? So Jana, if the system that you're using, like if you love that, if it's something that you would recommend, maybe your peers here would like to hear from you what you're using, but there's a bunch of different systems out there that you can use for that too to help.
Yeah, I told them about it last week, but it's called Crafty Base. So for any of the makers out there, if you didn't hear it last time, this software called Crafty Base, it's subscription based. They have a bunch of different levels of it. It links up to all your sales channels and pulls in all of your orders. You can add every product that you make. You can have a recipe. It calculates like to the hay penny how much each product that you make costs you in parts and labor. It factors in the cost of shipping your materials to you automatically. It knows how much you've collected in sales tax. It pulls everything as a report. It is not a replacement for QuickBooks, but it does great things as far as tracking your inventory and expenses, your order management. You can even track when you send items to consignment to sell in someone else's store. You can track that they have that much inventory and how much it's worth and when it sells. All that kind of stuff. It's awesome, and I can put my affiliate link in the chat. And if anyone wants to check it out, you can do a free 14-day trial. And if you have any questions about setting it up, just ask me.
That's awesome. All right, let's hear from one more person.
Rashonda, go ahead.
So I'm service-based food service, and after looking at the base of my cost of business, I think I can apply like all of these steps, because with the food market, sometimes prices goes up and then sometimes you can find good sales. So is that possible to do? And then increase in volume, like the pop-up shops and different workshops around the city, I think is pretty good. So is that a possible thing to do, to apply all three of them at different times of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be a one and done situation, right? And that's the beauty of owning a business. And you're gonna have busier times and slower times. So you're gonna have to figure out what works at the best time. Absolutely. And keep an open
Thank you.
mind around it too.
All right, thank you.
Of course. All right, guys. Well, I think we can all agree that knowing the price of everything is extremely impactful. And as a business owner, you guys need to think about ways to improve your value proposition to customers to justify increasing prices over time, right? Because I think that's something that is inevitable, especially in the economy that we're in. So by taking the learnings from Module 1 and really understanding your clients and investing in products and services that they need, you guys are going to be able to create valuable products that demand higher prices, right? Like, as we talked about earlier, people want more quality. People are willing to pay for the quality. So you guys have to find a mix of how these levers and trade-offs work in the real world and where there's competition and how it fits your business. But always, always, always consider how moving them around might impact your business before making the change, right? So analyze it before implementing it. It might sound like a great idea, right? But always make sure that you guys are figuring it out first and doing the math and making sure it makes sense. But use your understanding of price, volume, and cost structure to make informed decisions. So my last question for you guys today is, what is one thing that you guys can commit to try to improve your business operations for your own business?
Go ahead, Yamilex.
I would say marketing, just staying on top of marketing and networking as much as possible, getting out to those small business events, going out to meet people who, potential clients or people who are in the same business as you, so you can kind of bump ideas and get different points of views. I think that would be like something that to stay on top of, just because marketing is so important. A lot of people, like my business, I opened a new restaurant, El Coquito. We're located on Allen Street, which we're the first Puerto Rican Dominican cuisine in Allentown history. However, a lot of people don't know we exist because I'm so hands-on in my business that it's really hard to focus on marketing and focus on being able to let people know that we even exist.
I think that's great. And to your point of being the first restaurant in the town's history, that's huge. And you should take a lot of pride in that. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time of bringing people in. So I think that's a great commitment.
Thank you.
Next we have Tawana and then Candace.
Hi. So as you were talking, I wasn't really doing the numbers because I would have to pull all my stuff up to do the numbers. but it did get my wheels turning. I don't have a system where I'm plugging all my numbers, but majority of my sales come from online or my POS system. So I can just like log onto my phone and see. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I can log on from my phone and see what I'm doing. And I do know, because I'm service based, because I do the candle making workshop and I have candles for sale. Listening to you did make me like, it got my wheels turning of things that I can do to get more of a profit, get more sales. Maybe sometimes I have sales goals, then I'll meet them, sometimes I don't, and then I just kind of put it to the side. So it did get my wheels turning of things that I should be doing, like being more intentional about like my marketing, or like maybe advertising some events for candle making. So yeah, that's where I stand with all of this.
Yeah, and you're going to have days where you don't hit your daily revenue target, right? But I think the important thing is to stay consistent with your goals, right? And don't give up on them. And a bad day doesn't mean a bad business, right? So just stay consistent with it, and again, you're gonna make it happen. It's only a matter of time.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
Go ahead, Candace. You can come off of mute.
I just wanted to piggyback. I'm so sorry. Please don't get me thinking that I'm rude, but the lady who has the Puerto Rican restaurant, and I just want to say this to everybody. We live in a city where we kind of got access to free marketing. So I don't know if anybody else, I know, I see Miss Tawana was on there and I was on there as well. Try reaching out to Daytime Buffalo and getting on there with Miss Chelsea. That's a lot of free advertisement. And personally, since I went on that show, I actually got a lot of more doctors that are calling to make appointments for their patients. So if you're a new business, that's what she basically highlights, is a lot of local businesses in here. So message her on Facebook and get on channel 4 so we can all come back on here and be like, we seen you on there, and start to support free
I
marketing.
need some help with that, because she will not call Take a Solar Moment back. Anybody know Chelsea? Can she? I'm a new business. I've been around for a little while, but my business is new. I need help with that.
We actually were on there last 2 weeks ago.
I saw you. I follow her like all the time, but as many times as I've reached out to her, she will not even say hello back to me. So if somebody knows how to work that, let me know.
Yeah, if you want to send your name in the comments, just like I'll send you the information. I had to email somebody
And I was
named.
gonna say, her email that she has for Instagram and everything else, that is not the best way to reach her. The best way is to reach her via Facebook, Daytime Buffalo. Chelsea at Daytime Buffalo.
I got that one. I'll try it again.
Try it again. And then put in your heading, new business, small business, new business, because she always puts people on there with businesses.
Yeah.
All right. If y'all don't see me on there in 60 days, I'm bringing all of y'all back out here to say, hey, Chelsea, did she said? So I'm gonna do it again, but I'm coming back to find everybody.
Look, I'm
once
with you,
again,
because I sent her emails as well, and she hasn't responded. So I hear you.
okay, so LaShawn and Solar, guys, again, just want to, plug the LinkedIn group, because, all of these hacks, we can talk about them in there and get everyone connected, because that's the power of networking.
Do we have anyone else that wants to share before we go?
I'll go.
I have a question for really quickly. It's not about sharing, but do you guys offer anything specifically to small businesses, new small businesses? Because some banks or credit unions are specifically used for small businesses. Do you have any perks that brings people to Citizens Bank?
Yeah, so that's actually a really great question. I don't know, Marisol, am I actually allowed to speak about what we can do here at Citizens on this call?
Yes, that's a great question, Karina. Also, Karina is based in Rochester. For any of our Rochester guys, you can reach her there as well. But yeah, so definitely you can, Karina, please feel free.
Okay. So there's so many different ways that we can help here at Citizens. Just from the start, right? The most basic thing you want to get started with is your checking relationship. And at Citizens, we don't have balance requirements and we don't have monthly maintenance fees. So we have accounts that are extremely easy to maintain. We get you set up with online banking. That way you're not paying for paper statements. Really, the only place that you would run into fees on the account is if you overdraw on the account. We can get you a debit card printed the same day. It's active and ready to go when you leave the branch. And in addition to that, there's so many other ways that we can help. We can help with processing payments from your clients, right? We can help you accept credit cards if that's not something that you're currently doing. And it's important that you guys take that into consideration too, because I know for myself, if I walk into a physical business and they're cash only, I don't carry cash on me. And I'm not a huge fan of paying a fee to get my money out of an ATM too. So I might be a client that might go to another business that accepts cards as a form of payment. So that's something to take into consideration. We can integrate with your online platforms. We can help you build online sites. We can help with lending once you guys are established for at least 6 months to a year. There's personal credit and then there's business credit. So you want to make sure that you get your business established with a credit score as well. But those are just some of the few things that we can help with. There is so many different avenues that we can help with. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me directly. We have multiple partners that we work with here at Citizens. We have very much have a one team mindset here. So you get me, you get my business partner, you get a mortgage partner, you get financial advisors available to you. We have payroll services that are available as well, who can also help you hire individuals. There's just so many different ways we can help.
Thank you for that, Karina.
You're
And,
welcome.
yeah, and that's why we partner with Citizens. They're awesome. Because you know, basically like Karina said, right? For folks who are in need of lending, or even like these workshops that we do, this is the reason why you guys give us money essentially, and also and also why, you know, we partner together, because we can also help on the funding side for folks who haven't even launched yet, so and are just starting. So yeah, guys, there's a lot of resources out there. So like Karina said, you can definitely reach out to her. And if you need any more resources, please feel free to email me as well. And Karina, can you pop your information in the chat there, please? We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'll put my email in there, and then I can put in my branch phone number as well. But whatever you guys need, email, call, whatever's easier.
Awesome. Thank you, Karina.
Of course.
So guys, this has been a great, hold on, let me see here. Are we, oh, sorry, Karina, are we done with the presentation?
I am all done with my end,
Awesome.
and I just want to say thank you guys for your time today. I love being here, and I love being able to spend the time with you.
Thank you, Karina. You were awesome. Let me see here. Okay. So guys, you know, just a reminder again, that LinkedIn group, please, if you have trouble accessing it, let me know and I'll send you a direct invite. But yeah, we are so happy to have had you guys here today. Thank you, Karina, again, for your expertise. This was awesome. Thank you, Kim, for being our designated presentation person. And yeah, thank you all for being here. It was was great to see all of your faces and hear the lively debate. We will see you guys on Thursday. I'll send out that reminder email. And Janet, go ahead. You had a question?
I was just curious if anyone else is going to the conference on Thursday in Rochester. I know there was somebody that needed a ride. I am driving with another friend and I am picking her up in Amherst at like 6:30 in the morning, but we're gonna go out to eat in Rochester for dinner afterwards. So if you get a ride with us, you ain't coming back to Buffalo until like 10 o'clock. Okay. But I wanted to put it out there that I will have some space in my car if somebody needs a ride. I will be doing that.
Thank you so much for doing that. I actually wanted to see if people had gotten that. So I know 2 folks needed rides. Can you put your information in the chat, please? Thank you. All right, so reach out to Jana. Make sure to I'll send the chat. But yeah, guys, there we go. Reach out and get that ride. But thank you again. We will see you guys on Thursday. We'll see you in person. I'm so excited to meet a few of you. Yay. All right, guys. Have a great night.
Hi, guys.
Bye.